People deluded. Arsenal 3, Vitória 2. We get out of jail in the Europa League and we make it 3 wins from our opening 3 games. We get 9 points. And yeah, man, it's been decent in terms of the Europa League. Obviously, Pepe saved our bacon, got us out of jail and kind of changes the mood of the game and the talking points, because there might have been more talking points had we lost this game, in which it looked like our point was going to do. Obviously, we all know it's irrelevant, but we lost to Sheffield, potentially drawing and losing today, with a game against Palace at the weekend, a must win anyways, but even more pressure, dare I say, unnecessary pressure mounted on us. But going into the game, no disrespect to them, we'd be expected to win this game as we did, but we'd be expected to win this game. 3 wins from 3. I know it's not the Premier League, but we want to bounce back from the disappointing result in Sheffield. Obviously, there's going to be numerous rotations. Opportunities are going to be given to players like the Bellerins, the Tierneys, the Holdings to regain fitness. Mustafi is playing, obviously, because this competition right now isn't the most important of things. And you've obviously got young players that are also working themselves back from injury, but also with a point to prove in this team. Whether you're Maitland-Niles, you've kind of been marginalised and whatnot. Now, Vitória, I think you have to give them great credit, people. You have to praise them. I think early on in the game, the first 5 minutes, they had 2 clear-cut opportunities. Holding wasn't looking at wasn't aware of his shoulders and things like that. And they gave our fullbacks a tough time. You saw very early on, is it Davidson or something like that? They had him. They had a couple Brazilian players and if not Brazilian players that are very comfortable with the ball at their feet. You saw Marcus Edwards. You've seen me make videos about him. You heard me in my preview saying it would be Arsenal to not only mess up our clean sheet record against Portuguese sides that we've had, but also let him score, the former Spurs lad. And they deserve their goal. It obviously comes, Tierney goes for the first ball and he does alright to go for the header, but he misses it. This game, I did see a lot of stray passes in midfield, but also the second and the first balls. When it goes in the air, winning the seconds. Joe doesn't win his second. They mount their counter-attack. Holdings, for me, should read it as a centre-half. Yeah, you don't want to be pulled into wide channels, but he seems too content with managing his line. He needs to read that. Tierney's obviously recovering from failing to win the header, is in the wrong position. Joe didn't win the second ball. Midfielders are not aware, and they deserve it. Apologies. They go 1-0 ahead. They started off fast. We didn't. Obviously, we made 10 changes with the games and we did look like that. On top of obviously players not being 100% in terms of their own sort of personal journeys, we looked like a team that made 10 changes. And on top of that, even when we put our best of lineups out, like you've seen at times this season, there's also been question marks and whatnot as to, do we have any fluidity in our play? You're looking at the midfield, again, there's rotation, but there's no really anybody connecting play like that. Martinelli seems to be playing up front with Lacazette. I think Lacazette's looking rusty, but he's looking alright. Martinelli's working his socks off. I feel Emile Smith-Rowe personally looked alright as well. Beyond that, you're looking at everybody else. Nobody really looked up for it, or nobody really, did their thing. Obviously, great work from Joe was actually involved. Obviously, Tierney put a lovely ball in. Lovely movement from Martinelli. And I'm fully ready to join the bandwagon of him becoming the striker, people, because his movement, he's getting stronger physically as well. But it's a typical finish. And this is why in the opportunities he's had in terms of like the league competition, he's got 5 goals, people. He gets us back in the game. It's 1-1. The problem is now, obviously, if we look at the minute we conceded that goal, people, if we look at literally the minute we conceded that goal, it couldn't be any less than 3 minutes or so after scoring. How many times do we do that? We get ourselves back into a game and we concede again. Obviously, I don't like to blame individuals and scapegoat, and I'm a big Maitland-Niles fan, but what are you doing? I like that. One thing I really like about him is he's not rushed in possession, but it's a double-edged sword. It's a gift and a curse. If you're going to play in the flanks or you're going to play in midfield, you need more urgency in your play. He's casual, he loses the ball, and they exploit it really and truly. Could we have been a bit more urgent to reacting from when it hit the post? I believe so, but if Maitland now shows some urgency, it doesn't happen, and it puts us on the back foot. I did feel it was kind of harsh to sub both of them, but I felt Joe for Ceballos, and there's not really a case for Maitland now to stay on the field. It would have been nice to see them come out and get a chance to prove themselves in the second half. But at the end of the day, I fully support Emery's decision. We need to win this game. There's pressure on Emery personally as well. And they're just not cutting the mustard, so it's time to change. this is where we've got to stand behind. Like, obviously, people banging on about Joe. He didn't have the best of games today. Does his thing. Maitland Niles, he's stagnating now. He had his rise in the team. He is stagnating. And I don't want to put agendas and things, because if he starts playing, people shut up. But it looks like he might be one to leave at the end of the season or whatever. I like Maitland Niles a lot, so that's not the case. Martinelli and Emile Smith-Rowe, although tired in the second half for me, I think they played all right, in my humble opinion. Second half, admittedly, we were a bit better, but I felt in the first half, especially, Vitória could have scored literally about 4 goals. They really played well and put a good account of themselves. But looking back, if they were to just look at it away from Arsenal, there were chances they really could have put this game out. It could have been 4-1, 4-2 at a point in that first half, people. And I'll give them credit for as good as they were going forward. I felt they were reasonably well defensively. And you have to wonder the question, yes, there's changes and several things, but it seems like now, any team we come up against with some sort of game plan and working for your other man and organisation we're struggling against. We really struggled in the middle of the park to really build anything or really do anything today as well. I like Joe, but I don't think he's a number 10. He didn't play there, but I don't think he's a number 10. And I think it's down to Emery. I'm using him as an example. It's down to Emery to define what sort of midfielder is Joe. Is it a box-to-box? Is it a 10? Is it a deep line? We've got to work with these players now. Same way with Martinelli. He's looking like a striker. But second half, we came out the blocks a bit better. I think with the substitutions of Guendouzi and Ceballos on the field, I think we did a bit better in possession. We know they will relish the ball a bit more. I am waiting admittedly for Ceballos to... I know he's good technically, but at times, if I'm scrutinising his performance, he's picking it up in areas you don't necessarily need to. However, saying that, surely Emery's got to consider playing him in a pivot, him and Guendouzi or something, man, instead of Xhaka, because I know Xhaka didn't play today, but immediately when Ceballos came on the field, like you've seen us struggling all season, from whatever critics I have of him, he's getting the ball from deep and trying to make things happen. Like, you can see players are wanting the ball and whatnot. Lacazette had a couple good little flicks here and there in the game and all of them things, but he weren't really fit. Emil's working his fitness back, and I think he did well today, but he should have scored one. So yeah, man, we did, obviously, long story short, yeah, man, I felt they could have scored more. I felt we just looked like a team that made 10 changes and a team in poor form in all competitions, really. Obviously, Pepe, big man, came off the bench. And for me, the best thing out of today, obviously, is that we won and we can shut up about things and we got out of jail. But I know it's only the Europa League, and no disrespect to the competition or the opposition, but you're looking at it as now he's got the 2 goals. He can look back on the YouTube and look how good that was. And you're hoping he's fully fit. I mean, if not fit, full of confidence going into Sunday's game, man, because we're going to need him, man. And the supporters will get behind him. Away from Pepe's goals, when he came on the field, he just looked positive, man. He looked like, I wouldn't say necessarily with a point to prove, but he looked like he's like, all right, cool, I'm going to try and make something happen. Whether that's because it's the Europa League, maybe Emery said something positive in his ear, maybe he just found clarity in his own mind. Who knows, people? But either way, he came on the field. It's a lovely free kick from him, and it was so good. He done it twice, people. For me, I don't know. The first one's better, but the second one, just because, are you gonna do it again? Literally last minute, Pepe does it, and obviously we need him to do that again, and he's still developing and settling in. But it was nice for him. That's the best thing for him, man. He got a brace, filled with confidence. And I'm not saying that means he's going to go score 25 goals and 30 assists. But hopefully he can kickstart and raise his performance and give greater good to the team, because he's got the technical ability, though. Away from getting out of jail and obviously him scoring them goals, though, people, it was concerning. I'm not going to harp on too much because changes were made and it's not that sort of game. But I did feel there's numerous individuals out there, respectively, that have a point to prove to really get into this team. Didn't really take advantage. I do feel, if I'm cynical, it did look like Martinelli went inside, having started on the left. But Tierney, as much as I feel he should start and he's looked well, I can see, having on the back of this game, why he might not be starting, because he does look a bit rusty. Bellerin, I'd probably play Tierney against Palace if pushed. I don't think Bellerin's ready by any stretch of the imagination, if I'm completely honest. I know Tierney got the assist and it's a lovely ball from him. I don't feel he was doubled up against, and he got cramped towards the end, so he's probably not going to play against Palace. But I felt we didn't really support him. I felt we didn't really support the fullbacks, really. I felt you saw a noticeable difference to a degree in Bellerin when Pepe came on.
And I will be fair to us, when it became 2-2, it's too little too late ultimately, ironically. But there was a little bit of a goal where we looked like we might get, we might do something in it. When it was 2-2, it looked like something might happen beyond Pepe obviously scoring the free kick. People, we got out of jail really, man. There's still concerns over how we've been playing in all competitions, but having made 10 changes and several players not being fully fit, it is what it is, man. What can I say? 3 wins from opening 3. I don't want to say job done, but it's almost job done. And especially considering the running, we don't want to make things harder for ourselves. Again, for me, in terms of morale, it would have been very disappointing to lose this game. Former Tottenham youngster scores, subjects Arsenal to a second defeat in a week. Pressure on with Palace. I don't even work for the media, but you see how I'm already writing their checks, people. I'm already writing their blogs to get them their checks and whatnot. So in terms of morale, at least they can harp on about how he was poor and whatnot, and rightly so, but at least Pepe scored and it's different headlines. It is a bit concerning because, again, there's a lot of changes, but I should really go and get my phone, but I don't need to say the specifics. We made statistically considerably more passes than them, and they obviously gave us a game. I did think, is it Almeida, that 19-year-old? I did think he was tidy in possession as well, and I'm not watching him religiously, but considering his age and considering I like young players, that's what I'm going to keep an eye out on. But what can I say, people? We got out of jail. We weren't the best. It wasn't pretty by any stretch of the imagination. We got out of jail. We look forward to Palace, if you can say look forward. We look to the Palace result where we need to get back to winning ways in the Premier League. For now, though, people, like I said, Arsenal 3, Vitória, forgive me for mispronunciations, 2. We live to fight another day. On to Sunday. People, Deluded, I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking. Check out my other content. Follow me on my socials. Links in the description. Make sure you're subscribed already. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share it to your people then. But for now, God bless. I can sleep well. Arsenal 1. DG.